Welcome to the 7th episode of Profs Radio, the show to A-star your business by learning from entrepreneurs' own experience how to solve problems. I'm your host, Peter Martin, Director of Profs.biz, the only digital company to run your business easier, quicker and cheaper. Today, we have Brian from the Web Guys. Good morning, Brian. Do you want to say hi to the listeners and tell them about what you do?
Morning, Peter. Yeah, as you just said, I'm one of the owners of the Web Guys, and we do high-end websites for £30 a month. So yeah, I suppose that's going to be explained a bit better to make people think, oh my God, how can you do that? But it's really true. We supply our customers high-end stuff on a subscription-based model.
Excellent. You told me quite a lot there about how you do that. I think you're saying there were like 5,000 to 6,000 pound websites. You put in a lot of marketing features in there as well and things like that. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. We use WordPress and templated layouts as a starting point, and then together with the customers, we customize it so it becomes a truly bespoke product, and we give them everything they need to run alongside with it. Domains, hosting, emails, SSL certificates, and all that kind of stuff, CRM system, project management, and then we train them how to use it so they can get the best out of what they actually have, because most people don't really know how to operate their websites proper. So we put in a lot of time and effort in making sure that they actually know how to get the best out of it, in terms of blogs and SEO and social media.
I like that. You seem to have carved a niche in the middle. So rather than either going to one end where you pay thousands of dollars or pounds for a website, or the other end where you pay a monthly hosting and try and build it yourself, you're kind of in that middle space there that's not really been touched before. So
absolutely, yeah.
Excellent. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey and where you are today? I mean, you told me a little bit as well about your beginning of journey, where you started JustEat with your brother. Could you go through your journey with us?
Yeah, so again, my journey starts in the mid-90s, early to mid-90s, and doing stuff with my older, much clever brother who's a programmer, and build a lot of stuff, as you said there, just in the beginning, and did lots of stuff with dating sites and online newspapers and all that kind of stuff until an opportunity came for me to move away from Denmark and come to the UK. Came to the UK in 2000 and spent a bit of time up in Scotland doing various bits and pieces up there, sort of to do with the aviation industry. You can read all of this on my LinkedIn profile, by the way, if you get bored by listening to me.
No, it's interesting.
Lots of stuff up there. Got involved with a lot of whiskey distilleries, sort of from a website point of view, and came down, moved into Lincolnshire in 2005, and set up a business there, doing bespoke developing. I did a lot of work for the Home Group, who owns Argos and Homebase and those people, and did online systems for them, enabled them to disperse of redundant stock problems and that kind of stuff. So basically a complicated e-commerce, with stock control management and that kind of stuff. And I met my current business partner, John, when we did that, and we set up an agency called Metonym. It was a traditional web design agency where we did everything from bespoke projects of websites and software and print and all that kind of design stuff that a normal agency do. And then in 2016 we changed that and turned it into the Web Guys. So we've sort of changed our model along the way over the last 25 years to sort of fit where the market goes next, which is probably why we've managed to stay alive in the industry for 25 years, which you probably won't find many web agencies out there who are 25 years old, but we've actually managed to stay alive and doing really well over the course of the 25 years by being innovative much more than just a service supplier.
It's quite crucial that way. You do have to constantly analyze where the market is, and then innovate and adapt to do that. And it seems you've done that quite well with the service that you're offering today. But like you were talking there about the 90s and all that stuff, when websites first came along, people were just literally just sticking up brochure sites, whereas now it's a whole part of that sales process, isn't it? And
it's vital. Yeah.
Part of the back end systems are all integrated, and so they've come a long way. And you're right, if you don't innovate and change your thinking,
You're just going to be left behind.
In the last 25 years.
Yeah, you're just going to get left behind because, I'm a lot older than you. So there's always going to be some young, really clever people out there who's going to come up with something really, really quite hot. And as soon as they put it out there, the world just goes crazy. Look at what happened with Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. And the next thing will come, that will leave everything else behind. And you just got to try and sort of keep as close to that as you can. Otherwise, especially for people in our industry, if you don't, you're just going to end up nowhere.
That's a good example there with Facebook, because along with me, you'll probably remember MySpace. And I remember thinking, I'm never switching from MySpace to Facebook.
Yes.
Now I don't even install it. I can't remember the last time I logged on to it, really.
Is it still alive? I know that. Was it just in...
I think it does music things now. I don't know. But MySpace Tom, the first ever friend everybody had.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been involved in lots of ventures there, some quite big projects that are well known, the JustEat that we touched on, and some other things. As we know, business presents many challenges. Is there a challenge you have come across in business that you can share with all of the profs listening?
Yeah, there's lots and lots. It's, when you own businesses, you come against challenges almost daily, don't you? It's sort of how to sort of keep ahead of it. One of the biggest challenges we sort of faced was when we had our agency method, and when we were full service agency, was that we found ourselves using loads of different kinds of software. So we would use one set of software to manage our customers and suppliers, so CRM. We used another piece of software to manage our project, and we used a third one to manage our finances. We've always had this feeling that because we're sort of an online company, we should really have online systems helping us manage our business. We never really liked papers and spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. So we ended up subscribing to a lot of these High-Rise, Harvest, and Sage, and all these kinds of horrible pieces of software. And the biggest problem we found was that none of them actually communicated with each other. Even softwares made by the same suppliers, Harvest and High-Rise, could not even communicate. So you had to manually transfer data from one program to the other, which to us seemed like absolute madness. And we were paying out hundreds and hundreds of pounds for these software. So we basically just decided that, we can't be doing that, and we created our own. So we created what we now call Toolbox, which is a CRM system, a project management, task management, and finance management system, all in one, under one roof. So you didn't have to transfer data from one to the other. And, because what happens when you move data from one place to another? Mistakes happens.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the finance bit, yeah? So we just created our own in-house, called it Toolbox, and then that's what we now give to all our customers. So they don't have to subscribe to all these different kinds of products that doesn't even communicate, even if they're built by the same people, type thing. So
that's a good point there. I mean, if software is not making your life easier, if it's not running it quicker, it's costing you too much money, what is the point? Exactly. You might as well go back to the dinosaur age and use paper. And now these days, there's no excuse with APIs, is there really?
No, there's not. There really isn't. But even today, it's hard for a lot of these pieces of software that will supply for you, even for them to communicate in this day and age, because as you say, there's no excuse, but they just don't. And if they do it quite poorly. So
you've built Toolbox. That sounds like a very interesting thing. It's very similar to an ERP, it sounds. And is that built in WordPress?
No. That's a completely bespoke system built in Python.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we find out how you resolved your issue, I'd just like to take a minute to let the listeners know of our community, Entrepreneur Profs, where you can meet other entrepreneurs and learn from them, as well as find the tools we recommend. Just go to entrepreneurprofs.biz, where you can also join our free Facebook group, Entrepreneur Profs. So you touched on there about, obviously, you subscribe to all this software, and it's quite easy to do. I mean, you've mentioned you're a bit of a geek like me, and whenever there's something shiny and new, want to get our hands on it, play around with it, and obviously they give all the promises about how it's going to make life easier. You're going to, on the investment, you're going to generate more money, save all time. How did you go about resolving that challenge of obviously wanting to have all those systems in place, but having that integrated kind of system. Was it your own system that maybe you've used, or was there another tool or piece of software that you have used to
We
solve
struggled
that?
along with the systems that we were using for quite a while, perhaps a year or so, and we just made we just made the decision really to make the investment into our business and create our own system. So we basically just sat down, locked ourselves into a room, and just painted the walls with pieces of paper with diagrams and flow charts and all sorts of things. And we just bit the bullet and said, listen, we got to do this and make that investment into our business, and actually just hired a developer just for that one job, and just spent the next 6 months just developing the system for ourselves, and we just took the cost of that and did it. So we were in a fortunate position where, obviously, because we're in the industry, that we had the resources quite close at hands from development point of view, and we just made the decision that we were going to make the financial investment into it, and are still reaping the rewards from that today. We did that back in 2009, 2010, excuse me. And we're still benefiting from it from this day on, and we're now even giving it to all our customers for them to use as well. So it's proven. I
suppose the big benefit of having your own system is, as you were talking before about innovation and changing, as your business changes, you can just switch the system. You don't have to rely on a big corporation with your own system.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing cost as well. Don't discount that. Obviously, of course. Because it's not free to have these things and run them. But as you say, the benefit is that every time we make a change to our business, we can change our own system to fit into it accordingly. And then every time we make those changes, all our customers benefit from it at the same time. So it looks really good from the outside as well, because every time we make an upgrade to our system, we can tell all our customers, hey, listen, we just made this great upgrade to the system. Now you can use that as well. Yeah. So I feel like it benefits everyone.
It's very good when the software fits into the business rather than having to change a business to try and fit into this out of the box piece of software, because there's nothing worse than software and businesses that just aren't really that compatible.
And unless you do what we did, you're never going to find that, are you? So it's there are no systems out there that are customized just for you, unless you make a very large investment into it. So we're quite
you can customize some software, can't you, like open source and that, but you are looking at huge investments for
you are.
So what would be your top tip for someone just getting started with websites?
Pictures. Cannot stress enough how important pictures are. Never ever be afraid of taking pictures, even if it's just with your phone. More pictures are better than fewer pictures. I can't stress enough how big a difference imagery makes on pictures. It's one of the biggest things we say to all of our new customers, is that because our customers only pays us £30 a month, which basically means if they don't have pictures, they can afford to hire photographers and pay them £100 for them. It's the main thing for everyone to think about when they want to set up a website. Please make sure you have some fantastic pictures that shows what it is you do as a business. If you're the person, if you're a coach, if you are the business, then you have to take pictures of you, some really high-end pictures of you. If you're providing a service, if you're a plumber or an electrician, have some pictures taken of you doing your trade. It makes such a difference. It takes an ordinary looking website from that into looking like a really high-end website. If you have some really, really good pictures, it makes all the difference.
People want to relate as well now to businesses, don't they? They don't just want to click a button and have it done. The like you were saying earlier before we started, not everything is always hugely original, but that's how you differentiate yourself, is how you connect with your customers. People want to do business with people that they like and trust, and they're not going to do that with just a bland screen.
No.
They won't be able to see who the person is behind the screen, shall we say.
Absolutely. People are so used to knowing everything about everyone these days, because of Facebook and Instagram and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
I say to everyone, never be afraid of putting yourself on your website, because people just want to see you and relate to you. Yeah. So, but make sure it's a good picture. Yeah.
Not your Friday night down the pub.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And lastly, what is your favorite piece of software or tool that you would most recommend?
Well, obviously my toolbox system, but other than that, Stripe. I love Stripe. Stripe is such a fantastic tool for any business out there, because the biggest thing in business is that you need to take payment. It doesn't matter what you do, you got to get paid from the customer. And Stripe is just such a tool that it will just fit into any business taking payment, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's on a website or just taking, payment on the spot. If you're cleaning people's windows, you can just have the app on your phone. It is such a fantastic tool. The biggest thing for me about Stripe is the fact it's a system that's built by programmers for programmers. So the API is so powerful that it just works with everything. So if you're a business out there and you don't have Stripe, get Stripe. It's brilliant.
We use Stripe for all of our payments as well. One, because there was one that was probably slightly cheaper and was still good at integrating, but it didn't do as many countries, whereas Stripe, it does cover a vast amount of countries, and it's a lot cheaper than, let's say, the leading brand. I think we know who we're talking about, that people default to. But actually, Stripe's a lot cheaper and, like you say, a lot more powerful because of the stuff that it can integrate with. It's integrated to all our websites and systems.
I think we started using it in 2009, 2010. And I think in those 9-10 years, I think I've only ever experienced one card, because our customers are global. We got customers all over the world. And I think I've only ever seen one card it wouldn't accept in all them years. Yeah,
wow, so that's pretty good going.
Yeah, it is. It's tremendous. It really is tremendous.
I like now as well that you can only use it on the website if they force the SSL, so that people actually know that it is secure. And then that's a nice little feature that they've kind of done there. Before you do go, sorry,
say again.
Oh, I thought you were saying something there. Sorry. Before you go, how can people connect with you? And is there anybody that you would recommend we interview for this podcast?
Yeah, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Obviously, we got the web guys on Twitter. We got the web guys on Facebook and Instagram. So, hook me up in all them places and say hi. I'm happy to have a chat with anyone. It's you're only as strong as the people you know. So.
Very true.
And a good guy for you to move on to. It's I want to recommend a guy called Ben Wright from a company called I Want Fish and Chips. It's nothing to do with food. He's a social media company, and he actually does all my marketing for me. And he's absolutely brilliant guy. He's very different, does things in a very different way, which is great in this space, because you need to do something to stand out a little bit. And he's very good at making you stand out against the rest. So have a chat with Ben. I'm sure he'll enjoy having a chat with you.
I love the business name there. I do like fish and chips.
Yes, and he does look like a guy. He's a rugby guy, so he looks like he eats a lot of them. But
so thank you so much for coming onto this podcast. It's been really interesting hearing about your story and what you do. So really appreciate your time. Remember, listeners, to check out our community and Facebook group. Go and A-star your business today.